It started with a single push-up. Just one. Every morning, right after the alarm went off. No fanfare, no grand plan. For James, it wasn't about fitness or discipline, it was just something small, something manageable. But over time, that one push-up became 2, then 5, then 20. Within a year, James was running marathons, transforming his life in ways he never imagined. How could something so trivial ripple into something so profound? Think about it. What if the biggest achievements in life aren't born from monumental efforts but from tiny, consistent actions? What if the secret to lasting change isn't found in sweeping declarations but in the quiet, everyday moments? Consider Charles Dickens, who wrote his novels in daily increments, often just a few pages at a time. Or Serena Williams, whose relentless practice rituals, small, focused, repetitive, built a legacy unmatched in tennis. These weren't acts of genius, they were acts of habit. The truth is, habits are the invisible architects of our lives. They shape our days, mold our futures, and determine whether we rise or fall. But here's the twist, habits don't just happen to us, we create them, often without realizing the power they hold. So, what if I told you that the key to unlocking your greatest potential lies not in grand gestures but in the smallest, most mundane actions? What if the infinite loop of habit is the very thing that propels us forward, one tiny step at a time? Picture this, a single drop of water falls into a still pond. Ripples spread outward, tiny at first, but growing wider, stronger, until they touch every corner. This is the essence of habits, small, seemingly insignificant actions that ripple through time, shaping the very fabric of our lives. But how does something so small become so powerful? The answer lies in the relentless force of consistency. Every day, every moment, we make choices. Some are so minor, we barely notice them. Yet, compounded over weeks, months, years, these choices become the architecture of who we are. What if I told you that the path to transformation isn't paved with grand gestures, but with tiny, deliberate steps? Think about it. A single push-up, one page of a book, a minute of meditation, these are the building blocks of change. And when repeated, they become unstoppable. Consider the story of the bamboo tree. Planted in the earth, it shows no visible growth for years. But beneath the surface, its roots are spreading, strengthening, preparing for the moment it will shoot up, towering over everything in its path. Habits are like that. They work in silence, in the unseen, until one day, their impact is undeniable. This is the infinite loop, small actions, repeated consistently, creating exponential growth. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up, day after day, even when the results aren't immediate. Because every choice, every habit, is a vote for the person you want to become. So, ask yourself, what small action, repeated over time, could change everything? The answer might surprise you. What if I told you that history itself is built not on grand gestures, but on the small, relentless habits of individuals? Think about it. The world's most influential figures didn't just wake up one day and change everything. They were shaped by daily rituals, tiny decisions that compounded over time. Take Benjamin Franklin, for instance. A man who transformed himself from a humble printer into one of America's founding fathers. How? Through a simple habit, a daily checklist of virtues he aimed to live by. Every morning, he asked himself, did I practice temperance? Did I act with sincerity? These small, deliberate choices didn't just shape his character, they shaped a nation. Could Franklin have imagined that his daily reflections would echo through centuries? Probably not. But isn't that the power of habit? It's the silent architect of destiny. Then there's Marie Curie, the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and the only person to win it twice. Her secret? An unyielding habit of curiosity. Every day, she immersed herself in her laboratory, driven by a relentless pursuit of knowledge. It wasn't just about the breakthroughs, it was about the daily grind, the hours spent meticulously analyzing, experimenting, and questioning. Curie didn't just discover radium, she built a legacy of perseverance. What if she had skipped just one day? Would history have been the same? And let's not forget Nikola Tesla, the visionary inventor whose habits bordered on obsession. He worked tirelessly, often with just a few hours of sleep, driven by a routine that bordered on the extreme. His daily walks, his meticulous note-taking, his unwavering focus, these weren't just quirks. They were the building blocks of innovation. Tesla didn't just imagine the future, he crafted it, one habit at a time. So, what do these figures teach us? That greatness isn't born, it's cultivated. It's the small, consistent actions that carve the path to impact. History isn't written by chance, it's written by the habits we choose to repeat, day after day, year after year. What habits will you choose? What if I told you that every action, no matter how small, is a thread woven into the fabric of who you are? Habits are the silent architects of our lives, shaping our days, our decisions, and ultimately, our destiny. But how does something as simple as brushing your teeth or scrolling through your phone before bed become a force so powerful it can define your future? The answer lies in the intricate dance between your brain and behavior, a dance that begins with a single step. Neuroscientists call it the habit loop: cue, routine, reward. It's a cycle so deeply embedded in our biology that it operates almost invisibly, yet its impact is anything but subtle. Imagine your brain as a sculptor, chiseling away at marble. Every repetition of a habit etches deeper grooves, making the path easier to follow. Over time, these grooves become highways, and the actions they carry become automatic. But here's the twist: this process isn't just about convenience. It's about survival. Your brain craves efficiency, and habits are its shortcut to conserving energy. Why waste mental resources deciding whether to tie your shoes or brew your morning coffee? Habits free up space for the bigger decisions, or so we think. The truth is, habits don't just save energy, they shape your identity. Every time you repeat an action, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to be. Want to be healthier? Each salad, each workout, each glass of water is a vote in favor of that version of yourself. Want to be more productive? Every focused hour, every completed task, every moment of discipline adds to the tally. But beware, habits are impartial. They don't discriminate between the good and the bad. A habit of procrastination, a habit of negativity, a habit of self-doubt, these votes count just as much. The question isn't whether habits will shape your life. The question is which habits will shape it. And here's the kicker: habits aren't just behaviors. They're beliefs. Every time you act in alignment with a habit, you're reinforcing a story about who you are. I'm someone who exercises. I'm someone who avoids conflict. I'm someone who takes risks. These stories become self-fulfilling prophecies, looping back into your actions, your choices, your life. So, what's your story? What habits are writing it? And most importantly, what habits could rewrite it? Imagine a snowball rolling down a mountain. At first, it's small, almost insignificant. But with every inch it travels, it gathers more snow, more momentum, until it becomes an unstoppable force. Habits work the same way. They start as tiny, almost invisible actions, but over time, they build into something far greater. Every repetition creates a feedback loop, reinforcing the behavior until it becomes automatic. But how does this loop form? And why is it so powerful? Let's break it down. Every habit begins with a cue, a trigger that sets the behavior in motion. It could be something as simple as the sound of your alarm clock or the sight of your running shoes by the door. That cue leads to a routine, the action itself. And here's where the magic happens: after the routine comes the reward. Maybe it's the rush of endorphins after a workout or the satisfaction of checking off a task. That reward reinforces the loop, making you crave it again. But this isn't just a one-time event. It's a cycle that repeats over and over, strengthening with each iteration. Think of it like carving a groove into a wooden plank. The first pass of the knife barely leaves a mark, but with each repetition, the groove deepens until it's impossible to ignore. Your brain works the same way. Neurons fire, pathways form, and the behavior becomes ingrained. What's fascinating is that this loop doesn't discriminate. It works for both positive and negative habits. Hit the snooze button once, and it becomes easier to do it again. Skip the gym today, and tomorrow's excuse feels more justified. But flip the script, and the same principle applies. Write one sentence a day, and soon you're drafting novels. Meditate for 5 minutes, and eventually, you're craving the stillness. The loop doesn't care what you feed it, it only knows how to amplify what's already there. So here's the million-dollar question: how do you harness this power? The answer lies in awareness. You have to catch the loop in action, notice the cues and the rewards, and intentionally shape the routine. It's not about willpower, it's about understanding the mechanics. Because once you do, you can create loops that work for you, not against you. The snowball is rolling, what direction will you push it? Consistency. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Yet, it's the silent force behind every habit that sticks. Think about it, how many times have you started something with fiery enthusiasm, only to watch it fizzle out? The truth is, habits aren't built in a blaze of glory. They're forged in the quiet, unremarkable moments when you show up again and again. Patience becomes your ally, your compass in the storm of distractions. But why is consistency so powerful? Because it's the bridge between intention and action, the thread that stitches your efforts into the fabric of your life. Every small, repeated choice is a brick laid in the foundation of your future self. And the beauty of it? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent. Those tiny, consistent actions? They compound. Over time, they become unstoppable. Imagine a river carving a canyon. It doesn't happen overnight, but drop by drop, the water shapes the stone. Your habits are the river. Your life is the canyon. So, how do you stay consistent when motivation wanes? You anchor yourself in purpose. You remind yourself why you started. You focus on the process, not the outcome. Because consistency isn't about speed, it's about direction. It's about showing up, even when it feels mundane. Even when no one's watching. Even when progress seems invisible. That's where the magic happens. In the quiet, unrelenting grind of daily effort, you find transformation. You find yourself. And here's the kicker: consistency isn't just a tool for building habits. It's a mindset, a way of life. It's the recognition that greatness isn't born in a single moment, it's cultivated over time. So, ask yourself, what small step can you take today? What can you commit to, not just for a week, but for a lifetime? Because the infinite loop of habits isn't just about repetition. It's about evolution. It's about becoming the person you were always meant to be. And it all starts with one simple truth: consistency is your superpower. Picture this: a single mother in Chicago, working 2 jobs, barely scraping by, her dreams buried under the weight of survival. Maria Gonzalez was stuck in a cycle she couldn't escape. Every day felt like a replay of the last: exhaustion, stress, and a gnawing sense of hopelessness. But then, something shifted. Not a grand epiphany, not a sudden windfall, but something far quieter, far more powerful: a single habit. She started waking up 30 minutes earlier. Just 30 minutes. What could that possibly change? Everything. In those quiet moments before dawn, Maria began journaling. Not essays, not novels, just a few sentences about gratitude, about her goals, about the life she wanted for her son. Day by day, word by word, she began to see herself differently. She wasn't just surviving, she was building. Slowly, those 30 minutes became her anchor. She started walking in the mornings, clearing her head, and planning her day with intention. The small wins started stacking up. She